Hi everyone, it's Christina. Today we're making 4 different ways to use my digital kits. The first way is an A5 notebook. So what you'll do is print out a couple of pages. That one is on cardstock, the first one, and these ones are all on different types of paper. You'll see I've got printed out fronts and backs, so whichever way you want to do it. I've got some transparent paper, I've got some covered paper that's the handmade sort of style of paper that works in the printer, and then when you've got enough for a booklet, you basically are going to fold them all in half. Use your bone folder to get a good crease, or a spoon, whatever you have, just so we've got a nice crisp edge there. I'm just putting them in order as I go through the, as I fold them, I'm putting them around the outside of each layer because I had them in the order I wanted to put them into the notebook. Now you can see I've got a variety of stained paper, lined paper, plain paper, transparent paper, so that in your notebook you've got a whole variety of different colours, textures, types of paper to inspire you to do all sorts of creative and wonderful things. So now I'm putting those pages, which are basically all the same GSM, about an 80 or 90 photocopy kind of GSM type of paper. Finding the middle, I've got the card on the outside, so that's about a 200 GSM, something like that, cardstock, and I'm finding the middle. Now there are many different ways to do this. Just for this purpose I'm putting it on the little binding thing here, which helps, and screwing it down so that the seam stays in the little dip of the tray. I'll put a link down below for this little machine. And I'm working out where the middle is and then punching a hole in the centre. So 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I'm going to be counting out 4 or 5 either side and putting 2 holes. Find the centre again, 5. Obviously this is up to you. Some people like those holes being further towards the ends, some people like them closer. This is a pink wax, so everything's pink of course, but this is a pink waxed thread, so the purpose of the wax is to get it through the holes a little bit better, a bit easier. Now what I didn't think about was that this needle had a very big eye and it was smaller than the awl that I used to put the holes through, and that's okay. You can just use any sorts of pliers to grab that needle and help pull it through. So I've come from the centre out to the back, then up through one of the holes. These are not the pliers I would normally use. These are actually wire cutters, so not the best idea there. Now make sure you don't lose that little tail and come up through the other end of your and then back through the centre. So you've got one long string in the middle and 2 ends that you tie off in the centre. Now all that's left really is to cut down the sides, make it all neat. My printables tend to have a little, depends on your printer, but my printables can tend to have just a little white edge there, and that's okay. It just means that you've got a bit of trim area. I'm using the mat behind me to measure it up. And there we have a little notebook with lots of different pages. Of course you can put in doilies and all sorts of things, other bits of scraps, different sizes as well. So the next one is 2 little A6. As you can see, I've printed up 2 of them. So in my settings on my printer, I've chosen 2 up, and every page is the same, it's got 2. So when I cut it down that centre line, you're going to have 2 half the sizes of the previous book. And like before, I've got some transparent paper, I've got some lined paper, I've got some of my pink dyed avocado dyed paper, some paper that is looking a little bit handmade with marks, and the same process. I'm going to fold them all down the middle, crease them with my bone folder, and as I do them, stack them inside each other so they're in the order that I've put them in. And doing the cover, and now they're all ready, folded, ready to be cut and sewn. So I'm going to be cutting down that middle line. First you've got to knock them up, make sure they're all straight, cut down the middle line, and now you've got half the size of the book before, but you've got 2 of them. So it's A6, and the measurements are 10 by 14.5 centimetres. So similar process, finding the centre. Once again, I'm using my little machine-y thing, and you know, you can use an awl on a bit of foam or a bit of card. There are many different ways to do this process. So I've decided that this one's smaller, so I'm going to only do 2 holes. Now I'm counting up 5 from the bottom, and I believe I count 4 from the top. There's no rules about this, you can do whatever you like. It's not really, depends how OCD you are about uniformity. And that is a little thing, a packaging thing that is behind that I've used to just press my awl into to see if I can get the holes a little bit bigger, because I was aware my needle was a bit, the eye was a bit large. Still having to use my metal clips. Really, I think it's in my sewing kit, the pliers I normally use for a needle. Anyway, we've got there. So just like the other one, but I have put this time the tie is on the outside, and just tying a little knot, finishing it off. Of course you can add something onto those little bits of string, or you can glue them and cut them really short and close to the book. It's up to you. I tend to like at least some little bits hanging out. And using my grid once again and cutting all around the edges to neaten it up. And now we have an A6 little booklet. And when the other one's done, of course, we'll have 2. So there they are, A5, A6, with a variety of papers. Now the next idea is tags and tabs. Now obviously you can cut these by hand. I happen to have a little cutter, an embossing machine, which also die cuts. I've got these set of different sizes of tags, so using cardstock printed both sides, I can get a few tags out of it. They're not as thick as really thick cards, but they still would work for either greeting cards, gift cards, or presents on the top of a present, or in your junk journals. So one side's got the writing lines on, and then I'm just showing that you can make a whole heap of different sizes and shapes with a die cut machine. But don't waste any of your scraps, of course. So there's the different shapes and sizes, because you can use things like a little tab cutter. Roll that through. And then you've got an instant tab for your pages. And I'm just going to do one or two more. So this one I put a little bit more of the red in it. And I'm just going to show you, you could have index cards and put them on the top of the index cards, or you could find a little page, put one on, and have it sticking out if you like a little bookmark or a little marker for a different month or a different day or whatever you want, really. So that was tags and tabs. Now the next one we've got is number 4, is little paper bags. Now I've got one full sheet that I've ended up folding in half and cutting in half, and I'm just about to show you how to do these. So you're going to fold your A4 sheet, print it out. You don't need to print it out on two sides, that would be a waste of ink. Use your bone folder to fold it down, glue down that flap, now we're going to fold this bottom. I think I folded it a little bit too long there, and cut off a little bit at the top using pinking shears so we get a nice edge. Now I'm doing all this. I could do that last, but what I've noticed is that is too big a fold, and we need to be able to fold the base in so that that middle crease is in the middle, and so that they reasonably meet up. And then the top flap comes just over a little bit, not, over that little bottom line there, gluing those down. Now we're just going to fold the sides in, and that gives us out the creases for the sides of our bags. So once you know that they're nicely creased, you can open the bag up and fold that crease inwards. So if your paper's not playing fair, just work with it. Just give it a little bit of a go until it's really going into the shape you want it to go into. And then do exactly the same on the other side. So it's a bag that will stand up, could be used for anything really. I found it was still a bit too long, so I've cut it down and put another notch in. Or you can even just paste that into your junk journal, or use a paper clip and put it in. And don't waste anything. These little offcuts, I've just folded the ends over, used a bit of washi tape over the bottom. And that one I didn't fold it over, I just used washi tape along the bottom as another idea. And so they're the ideas. There are little bags, tabs and tags, and a couple of notebooks, all with one Digi kit. There you go. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day. Bye for now.